I found that there's a lot of people that live their lives trying to control everything. And I think this is exactly what's keeping them stuck. You see, it's not about holding on to something tightly. It's about releasing and allowing abundance to flow through you. You see, sometimes this information can come across a little bit spiritually woo-woo and esoteric. So in this video, what I'd like to do is share with you a personal experience that I had in my engineering career, where I was managing a multi-million-dollar project. So from start to finish, applying these principles, and you can learn from that. And we made some people very happy, and pissed off of some people there. It's not perfect, but you can see it actually in play and inspire you to take the same thing into maybe your day-to-day life and what you're dealing with as well. So with that, I was I studied engineering in one of the top universities in my entire country, and it was all fine and dandy. And what happened when I came out into the field as a young spring chicken engineer is I quickly realized that about 95% of what I learned at that university was either forgotten or completely out the window or completely irrelevant to what I was looking at in the field. And I was in the field of mining engineering. So in my particular area, I was focused on a lot of dirt related activities. So moving dirt, building foundations for stuff and structures from there. Now, what I found was that a lot of this stuff was completely not applicable. And there's this underlying tone and vibe that I found from my experience in the companies that I work with and the people that I've worked with, that engineers just know everything. And there's this like hidden belief around that. And so I've seen it just time and time again, where we say that this isn't the case. We say, oh, no, it's fine. I don't know everything and all this. But the way in which they act and behave and think and do things completely contradicts that very thing. And so what was happening is I was coming out in the field and I would be managing some of these projects, and I would come at it with the way I was trained to do it by my supervisors and by everybody else. And that had a tendency of subconsciously like tilting my nose up 15 degrees and pointing fingers and saying, do this, do that, do this, blah, 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 blah. I have the answers for everything. And if you don't do it exactly my way, it's your fault why this thing isn't done. Quickly, I realized that this led to so much miscommunication because nobody wanted to talk to you then. It led to so many different problems along the lines where the project either did not get completed on time, did not get completed on budget, did not just completely, basically would flop a lot of the times, and sometimes would get completed, but it could have been done a lot easier. So this particular project that I was managing was a multi-million-dollar project where we're moving some dirt and building a structure in there to make it a lot more safe for the entire environment. And what was going on is that this time I decided to approach it from a place of surrender, which at the time I didn't have the awareness and the words to depict on what exactly I was doing, but this is essentially what I was doing. I was allowing abundance to flow within it in a different way, instead of trying to control everything. And you can imagine the pressure of being a project manager of a multi-million-dollar project. There's a tendency to want to control every possible little thing. But instead what I did is I walked into the field and I recognized that the operators that we hired to do the job, I recognized their team collectively has over 150 years of experience of moving dirt. And what I had to bring to the table was zero experience. Okay, I learned something in a textbook on a presentation slideshow at one of my courses, and I did really well on it. I got probably like a 90-something%. But in the field, that rock that was in the picture in that presentation was not in the field. And in the field, there was a bit bigger rock. So I couldn't pretend to know what I was doing. I could tell you about the stress factors and the cohesions and the parameters, soil parameters, and all that kind of crap, but it was not relevant to what we were actually doing. So what happened is I approached the operators and said, hey, what do you think we should do here? I explained the project and this is what we're looking to do, but I'm like, how would you approach this particular thing? I surrendered the how to something, to someone, another energy, basically entity or the person, and I allowed that to come to me. And at first they were taken aback. The guy was like, what do you mean you're asking me how to do this? I said, yeah, I'm interested in how you can do this, because essentially, unlike what you say, I'm a pencil pusher. I'm out there on Excel graphs and plotting things in 3D in my nice cushy office. You're the one in the field grinding, and you've seen this and you've been doing this for years. How am I supposed to tell you how to do your job? Like, it makes no sense to me. And he started laughing, and he's like, okay, he was taken aback because no one prior to this has actually, in his career, has actually asked him how to actually do this. And so what's happened is he came up with all sorts of ideas, and they were honestly wonderful things that we didn't even think about in our design process, in our planning stages of the entire project. And so what I did is I started to take a lot of what he was saying and start to implement it into our entire project. Now, here's what happened. His boss did not like this. His boss had a tendency to basically take all the ideas of his entire team, present them as his own, and try and take credit for it. I didn't like that. I don't like that. I don't think I ever will if someone's trying to take credit for somebody else. However, in the actual field, it's a lot more different, because I recognize them, like, these are the ideas that came from exactly him, and he's presenting it as his own. And he came to me and he said, what are you doing talking to my guys? What are you doing engaging with them? What are you doing this and this and this? And I was like, no, no, we're not going to have a conversation like that. I said, look, based on of our stakeholder engagement matrix, instead of going all super fancy, it's like based off of how we established our communications in this entire project, we talked about the fact that we're going to be talking with every single person here. And the fact that I'm engaging with them is because you are not present in the field when I am there. Because more often than not, you're tied up into something else, and I want a project update on this. And secondly, we hired you guys to do our job. You're on our turf. So if I want to know how something is being done, I have the right to know how something is being done, because you're on my turf and your safety is my responsibility. I don't know. He stormed off. And he stormed off and he went off. And throughout the entire project, I kept giving credit to the people and the ideas that kept coming my way from them. I can't tell you, and I can't stress enough just how much easier it's made my job. I did significantly less work. This was mind-boggling to me because I was afraid of it taking on this new approach. I was afraid of surrendering this thing. I was used to coming at it from a place of control, a place of restriction. It's like, and a rigidness. It's like, you have to apply it this way, else it won't get done and we won't meet the budget. And I've got the pressure from my supervisors to get this thing completed. Instead, I surrendered to the flow. I let go of the outcome and I allowed things to come my way. And the way in which they presented different plans to me and how to actually execute things ended up saving us a fortune on this project. And we came within a $5,000 margin on a multi-million-dollar project. And if you're not quite familiar with this kind of stuff, coming within $5,000 on a multi-million-dollar project is like nailing bullseye on a project. All right, we usually have these variances of like plus or minus like 10%, 20% sometimes, depending on what we're doing. But nailing it this close was just gravy. And so what ended up actually happening is that by surrendering my flow and surrendering to this information, the universe synchronized things in such a way that it helped me execute this project in not only in a timeline fashion, but also completely on budget. And I've gotten a much better relationship with everybody involved, and they were coming to me with things. Yes, I did piss off the one guy, but what ended up happening a couple of months later, he actually got fired because of his own incompetence. And what he was doing is he was actually trying to take credit from different areas, from different fields, and like of his team members, take credit for himself to appear like he knows what he's doing. Sorry, dude. I wish you the best. I wish you've changed your ways and you're in a better space now, but it is what it is. So I hope that my story has inspired that how you can apply some of these concepts that appear sometimes a bit woo-woo and stuff like that, how you can actually execute them in the field, in your particular day-to-day life. This can be in practically anything. So what really helps is to sometimes, it actually feels scary to let go, but let go of your attachment to the outcome. What this does is this releases and reduces the resistance that you have to things being a specific way. And that allows for creativity, that allows for flow, and that allows for abundance to come in. and connect with you and allows you to potentially accomplish this thing in a way you never even thought imaginable. So with that, thank you for watching this video, and see you on the next one.